Hello. Hi, Abhinav.
Hi, Joyce.
Hi, that was a really abrupt transition from our very nice video. I was bopping along. How are you today, Abhinav?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Been a fun day.
Welcome, everyone, to a very special live stream. This is an AMA. It's a slightly different topic, but it's an Ask Me Anything with the Postman CEO and founder, Abhinav Asthana. My name is Joyce. I'm in developer relations, and I am based in San Francisco. Abhinav, you want to just go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Abhinav Asthana. I'm the CEO, co-founder, and the original creator of Postman. Built it since 2012 and been, fixing it ever since, in a way. I live in the Bay Area in Berkeley.
So you're the OG. I introduced you wrong. I should also do original creator. And we have some folks here in the chat. Welcome. Welcome. We are broadcasting, I believe, to Twitch, YouTube, and Periscope. So if you have any questions, go ahead and log into your respective platform and ask them here in the chat. But Abhinav, I feel like you've watched these live streams before. So we have a special segment that we like to call In Case You Missed It. And do you sing, Abhinav?
Not in a million years.
Okay, sounds good. So I will not poke the bear. We're just going to go over and share my screen. I don't have this going live yet, so I'm just going to turn on our banner on our community discourse. Have an error there. Arlemy, if you're there, if you don't mind turning on our community discourse, we have one thing for in case you missed it. I'm here on a website at community.postman.com. This is our community forum where folks can ask questions and we have new product updates and that kind of thing. And Arlemy is not here with us today. His face, at least, he's hopefully behind the scenes, has written another one of these great. Have you had a chance to see this yet, Abhinav?
It's awesome. Yeah, I was just on it before the call, and I think covers. I think the biggest key features what went out in the new UI, and I love the gifs that Arlemy creates.
Yeah, that's the best part. Even if you don't read, you're like, too long, didn't read. At least I can take a look at these beautiful GIFs that he does. Did I hear you say GIF?
I'm on the GIF camp.
Okay, well, it's okay. You're the CEO. So Arlemy just published this, it looks like 4 hours ago, and there's a ton of new stuff. What's new in Postman for the web? In fact, I was here on the web version of Postman, dark theme here. And we have a whole live stream. 2 weeks ago, Arlemy and I unboxed new Postman for web and compared and contrasted what is new. So there's a new overview page. Environments, mocks, and monitors are now in tabs, a slightly new user experience for managing those entities. There's a context bar. This doohickey on the side just pops out, and then you can look at your documentation, your comments, submit pull requests, or fork and merge. Universal search. This is one that I was looking forward to because you don't always know where to navigate to find things, but now there's a universal search right front and center. So you can find your workspaces, collections, teams. And because it's web, everything is a link. So now if we're working on something, like say in a live stream or something, we can go ahead and drop a link and everyone can meet us there. So amazing. I'm going to go ahead and drop a link to this in the chat. Oh, and we have some new folks coming to join us. We have Rakesh already has a question for our CEO, how to write unit test cases and automation. Rakesh, welcome from YouTube. We'll get to that in just a scotch. And here's Arlemy making his entrance. And Postman people in the chat, if you want to start answering some of these technical questions, that would be really helpful. Rakesh, if you have questions for Abhinav, make sure you go ahead and ask them in the chat. Oh my gosh, there's too many people here. Hold on. Let's go through so everyone can see. Prashant Sharma, is Postman recruiting? Yes. You want to talk to that?
Answer is yes. If you want to join Postman, please apply. We are scaling up fast, and we want great people who are excited about Postman and want to build it with us.
Yeah, I think let me go away from sharing my screen. I just take a look at Arlemi's blog post. Lots of information there. In Abhinav's right. We do recruiting, and especially I see Danny Dainton is here with us today as well. Danny Dainton was a very super big in the test community for Postman evangelism. Always gave workshops. Always helped people with Postman. And then we swooped him up and we got him. Got him.
Yeah, Danny has been amazing. I mean, I think I was listening to his podcast. I did a couple of his GitHub tutorials and actually taught me a couple of things that I did not know before. And we were like, yeah, we'd love to get Danny on the team.
Do you remember what tutorial you did?
I think there's one on GitHub. I don't know which, I don't have the URL top of my mind, but there was one he published early on GitHub.
So, Danny, it sounds like one of those tutorials that you published into the ether actually got you a gig at Postman. Congratulations. Yeah, now he's just big in Postman communities. Oh, there's Danny. Okay, so I have a list of questions. So Ask Me Anything is our opportunity to just ask Abhinav questions. I have a couple families of questions. What is off limits, Abhinav? The title is Ask Me Anything, but what is off limits?
As long as you don't ask me about my singing or my exercise routine.
How did you know I had a question about your exercise routine? I do. You used to lift weights. You don't anymore?
I used to. Now I lift mostly our daughter, who's like 18 months old now. So that's my exercise routine. Nuri, she's great.
That's not bad exercise. And you said her name is what?
Nuri.
Nuri. Awesome.
Yeah, okay. A lot more fun than lifting, dumbbells.
Pumping iron. All right, so go ahead and log into YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. Ask your questions. I have questions that I want to answer. Or ask Abhinav. Okay.
Cool.
What do you do besides Postman?
Good, strong question. So I spend a lot of time with, especially this year, with my family here, my wife, Sanya, and Nuri, and I, just, get a lot of time together over the evening. We go out for walks. Sometimes we go out for hikes. Been a parent for the last 1.5 years, and that changes your life in a lot of ways. So, I used to play a lot of video games, which Sanya sometimes reminded me, and now I do less of that, and I play mostly with Nuri. I spend some time reading a lot of books. I like watching TV shows. We started watching The Crown. So, just to kind of wind down a little bit and, get back into the game the next day.
What video games are you playing? I remember in the Postman office, you'd always be like taking a break.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it was encouraged in a way, like just if the console is available. I used to. I mean, there was a big rivalry between me and Ankit on FIFA 19 and FIFA 20. So now less of that. But
that's your co-founder, the CTO.
Yes. Yeah. So Ankit and I and a bunch of others, would play a lot of like FIFA together when we were, in an apartment in Bangalore. We used to basically work together and play together like all the time. We were basically living together in 2015. And recently I've been playing The Last of Us Part 2, which is a bit dystopian.
I've heard of The Last of Us. Or no, is it the same as Among Us?
No, that's a different one. Oh. Among Us is the cooperative, game. I've wanted to play it, but just haven't gotten around to collecting enough people. But maybe we should play that at the office, sometime. I think that's a fun game. Last of Us is more like a single player, interestingly, like the world has been destroyed by a pandemic game. So
relevant.
Yeah, not for kids. I think it's like the rating is above 18. So if
I
you're a
think
kid, yeah.
one of the engineers, Postman engineers in Bangalore, created a Minecraft realm of the Bangalore office. If anybody watching right now has a link to that Minecraft realm, you could take a look at what the Bangalore office looks like. I think the office dog is even in there.
Yeah, it's a great rendering and makes us, miss the office.
So we have some comments here. Prashant Sharma from YouTube says that, "Sir, I read that your journey of Postman started with a college project. Is that true?"
In a way, yes. I mean, I've been like, building stuff since college, but uh, Postman came out after a startup. That was my college project. So I had a college project which led me to create this website to give you a virtual tour of my college. It's kind of meta. I created a college project for my college that became a product. And I was basically building a lot of APIs for that project, which led me to build Postman. So in a way, it's kind of connected.
I constantly tell people about your Stack Overflow post that got you so much karma. I'm very jealous of your Stack Overflow karma, but that's really how you got a lot of visibility for Postman, right?
Yeah. I think the Stack Overflow post became the most visible ones. I think I, used to participate in a lot of communities and answer actually a lot of questions as well on Stack Overflow. So they were like at that time I was like into the Stack Overflow game. Like I need to kind of, build up my rep, answer questions, and it was a lot of fun. And then like this question comes around, and I was like, I've already been building something. So my Stack Overflow karma from other questions flowed into this one. And I think I should go and update it now that we have Postman on the web. Maybe I'll share Arlemi's post there.
Get some more karma there.
Yeah.
All right. Crispy Rebel, welcome back. Sorry, my dog is barking right now because I'm getting lunch delivered. A perk of working at Postman, if you're interested in working here, is that you get lunch. Abhinav, you want to go ahead and read this question here?
All right. So Crispy Rebel is asking, as someone who uses Postman nearly every day. Oh, thank you. Okay. Great to hear that. What did you use before Postman that made you so frustrated to make Postman? Yeah, that's a good question. So I basically was working at Yahoo, where I first encountered APIs, and we were supposed to code that API front end in PHP, and PHP had a curl package which you were supposed to use, and that led me to use the curl command line tool. There was no formal documentation, so we'd basically share our code base, and the curl code embedded inside it was what we tried to run. So it was kind of a lot of kind of fiddling with curl in a way that was kind of cumbersome. As the API would change, we'd have to redocument it or recompile our project, try to run it again. And most of the times, what we'd encounter, and I was actually with Ankit at that time too. So both of us kind of used to struggle with this kind of notion of collaborating with each other, and code plus curl was like our go-to, which was a very slow process. So yeah, I kind of remembered that, and then when I went to found my company Teleport Me, there were like about 4 developers including me who were working together, pretty much the same process, and that was also very error prone. So I thought, maybe I could make something easier. So yeah.
I didn't realize you were a PHP developer.
PHP was my second language. The first language I learned was Visual Basic. Yeah, third language actually. Visual Basic, C++, and then PHP.
And what do you code today?
In Postman, sometimes, we talked about building a bot before this call. So like I try out APIs, I try out integrations in Postman. So that's my go-to tool. I actually I got a book on writing an interpreter in Go. So I've been wanting to learn Go and, kind of step away from APIs a little bit and maybe do something lower level.
Tran Man Yo says PHP for the win. Said no one
Yeah.
else but Tran Man Yo.
PHP is awesome. I think it gets you there. People like underestimate PHP.
I feel like everyone and their mother's learning Go now. Another question here from YouTube, Edward. Will Postman ever be available natively on iPad OS?
No, it's called iPad OS now. I thought it was iOS. Uh, but yeah, I mean, we are actually looking at OS native applications for next year. I don't have an ETA yet, but our move to the web actually will allow you to run Postman in your browser, and you can have at least like a web app running. We are also uh, releasing cloud agents soon, so you will be able to send calls and not just like browse stuff and work on collections. So native support is some time away, but we are seeing that a lot of apps have come up on the App Store which support Postman collections. So there's definitely a need there from the community that we'd like to address next year.
Interesting. I thought because we were moving to the web that maybe the support for native apps would be lessened, but it sounds like you're just trying to expand to more platforms.
Yeah, I mean, the move to the web is to just make Postman accessible in an instant to everyone. We want APIs to be available to uh, everyone on the planet. So installing an app is a blocker for some people. So uh, we want that to be easy. But we'll have full scale support for native apps, and right now we have desktop apps based on Electron that will continue, to be supported as first class citizens.
Welcome. It seems like we had some more folks join. We're broadcasting to YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. Go ahead and log in and ask our CEO and co-founder of Postman, Abhinav Asthana. Ask him your questions. We have one more here from Ashok. How do I convince my boss to use mock APIs to speed up the sprint?
I think I would recommend maybe sharing at least an article or two from our amazing developer relations team with your boss to show like the value mock APIs can bring, to their workflow. I have literally seen people demo them in their meetings and how quick an implementation or like the final product could look like. Like if assuming no quirkiness that we can't know, assuming a normal boss persona, I think showing them what can be done is the best way to convince your bosses, and that's what Postman is kind of designed for. Whether it's mocking, testing, documentation, send them an invite to a workspace, and let them play around with a finished mock API. You can include visualizations against your mock API. So if you're building a web app, you can actually embed templates there to show how quick the finished product looks like. And that's the biggest challenge for most people to realize. Like, if I'm investing in this technology, what is my end product going to be? So the more you show the end product, the faster I think you'll get approvals.
Yeah, I've heard of product managers using mocks to prototype something and then handing that off to the engineer as requirements.
Yeah, great way to speed up communication.
I have a question for you. Abhinav, you're CEO, but you also manage certain, are you responsible for the design or the UI of Postman?
We have great people who do the design and do the product, but those functions do report to me. So I kind of do lead those functions in a way.
So I've actually heard, I don't mean to call your baby ugly in front of you, but I've heard some people be like, complain about Postman. I know that we've won awards for UX. So how do you, when you're thinking about the design, maybe there's like some startup founders out there or people that are working on their own side projects. How do you decide how you want the design to be? How do you decide the user experience? Like the shift to web is slightly different, a lot of different UX changes. How do you make those design decisions?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like UX and design is extremely hard, and doing it for a broad cross section of different personas, different people, like requires a lot of different choices that we have to make. Postman always errs towards like simplicity as much as we can be simple. That's better. And now, simple is a relative term. Simple is relative to the task at hand. So, like the task of building an API, for example, is a very, very complicated task. And as Postman has grown to fulfill more and more of those capabilities, the UI has been evolving to keep up, to that. So if you're, just coming to Postman to send a request, we try to keep the focus on the request, and there are states in which you can reach in, and just work in those. Like we try to keep the interface configurable. We try to keep the interface kind of minimalistic, but not at the cost of everybody else, because we kind of have to design for the tester, the developer, the product manager. I think another guiding principle for us is making sure APIs are simple to understand. The process is simple to understand. So a comparable example would be like a text editor, right? A text editor on its UI is super simple, right? And it looks very simple because the number of elements is just like uh, a blinking cursor. But it's actually very complicated because you don't know what to do with it. You have to install plugins, you have to install many things to bring it into a state. And if you compare what an IDE looks like, a fully fleshed out IDE for a developer versus the starting point of a developer's journey in a text editor, they look dramatically different. So Postman kind of lands somewhere in the middle. We try to make sure that workflows are simple, they're effective. We gather a lot of feedback across a lot of different channels. We look at customers, we look at beginners, we look at experts, and we try to kind of crystallize themes through which the UI can be made simpler. Like the context bar, for example, was something that was brewing in our heads for the last 4 years. We were seeing what kind of workflows people are thinking about. Should we even add like another bar on the right? But when we saw that people are constantly struggling with modals, they are getting stuck in different places, we said that this is something that we can bring up and just make a lot of workflows simple. Like I love the code option here, Joyce. We looked at this feature as being used so much that people loved that functionality of just generating code from the Postman request, but that was again behind a modal which would block your experience. So we kind of put it in the context bar. So as you change things on the left hand side, it'll update on the right hand side. So that's how we take decisions. And we know that we can't be everything to everyone at all times, and we trust that we will take progressively better decisions to keep the community happy. And so far, at least, there have been more successes than losses.
Yeah, I noticed the new UI abolished a lot of the modals. Arlemy tells me there's still a couple modals, but everything's in expandable panes. So that's kind of makes things a little bit easier.
Yeah, we were on a model like extermination drive. And in a way, to going back to the simplicity argument, right? Like the models existed because we didn't want to complicate the main interface, right? But what we are effectively doing is just shifting complexity to a different aspect of the interface. Now that we understood how people are actually using workspaces, how they're using collections, how they're using APIs in Postman, with our understanding of the overall workflow, we could get rid of all models, and we could get a better navigation in place, and we could get search in place. So I think these are very, very fundamental changes for the platform that we have released recently.
Awesome. Okay, so we have some more questions. Oh, I'm behind. All right. We have Prashant. What is the most time-taking activity in your daily life?
There are different ways to define it. I think things. You just live 24/7, right? I would say the most irritating, time-taking activity in my daily life is being held up on support calls, which is like you have to call up customer service and be on the call for like half an hour, and thankfully Melissa helps me out there. But yeah, that is the one that I don't like.
Yeah, it's a lot of administrative overhead. Okay, so the next question is from Maria Pena from Twitch. What are some qualities of your most successful employees?
The first one is curiosity. I think, we kind of enshrined it in our culture code. The first thing is create with curiosity. What we mean by that is we are, extremely curious about like every single aspect of, the product, the company, about building APIs. We, try to address that, like people who try to address that thirst, are generally more successful because not only do they take I mean we don't take anything at face value, right? We try to kind of question, hey, have we built something that is actually really adding value? How can we do better? Like all of those things are driven by kind of curiosity. um, Being data driven, finding hypotheses that can actually negate your belief with data, I think helps you be more successful because it helps you find areas for improvement. We like people who can work together, and in good times always, and in simple problems, it's very very easy to work together because everybody's chummy, everybody's very very happy. So what we kind of see great employees at Postman do is they are able to create an environment where hard problems can be solved while also working together, right?
Yeah,
And then they eventually take ownership to get stuff done.
grace under pressure. All right, rapid fire. Questions are coming in fast and hot. Okay, how does Postman handle the customer's data, and which cloud is all of Postman deployed?
So we've talked about this publicly. We have a very extensive security page which outlines exactly what we uh, do. When we have ownership of, or the responsibility. Ownership is the wrong word. The responsibility of customers' data. The cloud we have talked about it. It's AWS. We are predominantly hosted on AWS, and there are lots of controls that we have in place for people to be confident when they're using Postman's like cloud services.
Yeah. All right, next one. What do you consider the biggest challenge or blocker when you were building Postman? So that could be answered like early days, it could be now.
I think the biggest challenge was at that time saying no to so many things that were coming, the team's way. Uh, when Postman started, there were like parallel movements, to build a lot of like API tooling. Lots of API startups were coming up then. Lots of API startups are coming now. So one of the issues that a team kind of faces is like just distraction. Like, do we stick to like one thing, or do we do multiple things at a time? Sometimes your initial choices um, lead to very hard decisions further down the road. Especially when something has been adopted, which was more like we've had mistakes where like the collection format, for example, we had to evolve from the V1 format to the V2 format, and we had to be conscious about backward compatibility. So like lots of these different issues have come at different points in time. But I think Postman has been fortunate to have great team working on these hard problems kind of since day one. And I think more recently, I think what Joyce you highlighted, like how do we manage the UI? I think we are indexed on building a great experience for everybody from developers to testers to product managers, and now we see more than 200 job roles using Postman. So that's been a big challenge. We don't want to exclude anyone, but there are still choices that we could unintentionally make that make the product harder.
Yeah, it's always a hard decision when you decide to deprecate something or fork something into a new direction. I feel like a lot of people were complaining about the very original Postman. Well, not the originalist, but the Postman for Chrome OS, and like that was out of our hands.
Yeah, I mean, glad you kind of reminded me. Like there were two platform changes that we just we had no control over. The first version of the Chrome Web Store deprecated extensions in a particular way, and then we migrated to the Chroma platform. And we chose the Chroma platform at that time because it kept the product like very lightweight, very simple to use. So that was actually one of the motivations to go to the web. We want to go back to our roots of, being able to use Postman instantly. That's what the goal was.
All right. Next question, Ashok. What is your favorite framework as of today? Winky face. Try to say Ashok's favorite framework.
The last one I used was Flask on Python. I haven't actually. I want to try out some of the new frameworks that are more API first. I don't have something on top of my mind yet, but I think Flask for like dynamic things, and I've been wanting to kind of take Gatsby out for a spin because kind of came to know the founders really well, and I actually built the first version of our static site for getpostman.com back in 2016, I think.
Oh, you built the marketing website?
Yeah, like I think we were using Harp for that. We didn't have anyone else to build it at that time, so I built it.
Yeah. Okay. Question from Mewtwo Made Me Do It. What would you be doing if you weren't in software tech? Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, that's a good question because for most of my life, I've actually been very, very. I've been a geek and a nerd since I was in fifth grade. I got introduced to computers very early on, and my dad bought a Pentium One, and I just didn't want to do kind of anything else after it. So, what would I want to do if I was not in software or tech?
I love
I
how
don't
you can
know.
tell everyone's age by their first computer.
Yeah, I was right on the 486 to the Pentium 1 transition. I just didn't imagine myself doing anything else. I would have probably been, I don't know whether, being a professional video gamer would cover it. That's the furthest extent to which I went to explore another career. Like I was very excited about being a professional video gamer in seventh or eighth grade.
So does that mean you're a good video game player?
I'm kind of decent. I think I would be the second or third ranked internally on FIFA, the
Do you
company.
think that some of your employees let you win?
No, I think because they I lose to them literally.
Fair. Okay. Rugoff from YouTube is saying APIs are something that can give confidence to beginners for making applications. Is this a question? Thank you for making an awesome tool. A suggestion, you can have a social portal where we can share our collections.
Glad you asked.
Oh.
So maybe Joyce, you were on the show. We have one. We have public workspaces and a public API network now for you to share your collections. We it's free. You can publish and invite people, collaborate with everyone. Totally free, and that was actually what the demand for them led us to create it. So there you have it.
So this is at postman.com. If you click on explore. Is this the kind of social portal that you were thinking of, Raghav? Here, I'll drop a link to this, but let us know what you think.
Yeah, so if you go to workspaces, Raghav, you have the ability to fork and watch and comment. You can establish two-way relationships with people who would be using your API, and we have thousands of developers already using the original version of the Postman API network. So we are pretty excited about all of this new stuff.
All right. Next question we have is from Kartikeya from YouTube. Is data structures algorithm compulsory the only concept we need to focus on? I feel like there's some people who are shopping for jobs and Postman is hiring.
I think we. I won't speak for our engineering team right now, but I think that is definitely a core area that you should be proficient in if you're writing code. Though I think we are. We test for curiosity and see what's the breadth you cover, and we try to align. If the question is in the context of our interviews, then we try to align the interview process with the job that you would be doing. So if the job requires low-level code and writing actually data structures, then yes. If you are in other roles, then maybe not so much.
Do people actually use that in real world, in practice, I wonder?
I mean, you should not be writing core data algorithms or search algorithms on your
Yeah.
own. There are good libraries available. I think there is value in understanding some of them. I bought my copy of The Art of Computer Programming by Donald Knuth a while ago, and I only did 10 pages, so of
But
the
it makes
four
you
volume
look
thing.
smart. It's sitting on
It
your
made me
shelf.
look smart. Yeah, it's sitting in the Bangalore office shelf.
Okay, question from Braindead Air. How can we make APIs more accessible to non-developers?
I think the biggest thing that we have to do today, and this is actually broadly for society, that we have to show people this is what APIs do, for you, right? So we've kind of built the visualization tool, which I saw amazing examples. I think it was the MTNA team about the election results that showed amazing visualizations, and I think people understand applications today really well. What they don't know is how important APIs are, which are backing these applications. So I think examples, tutorials related to their walks of life or the things that they would care about. I think coupled with guided kind of walkthroughs would definitely help a lot. I think we are at a moment where we are seeing issues around data and privacy and security kind of bubble up. We're also seeing massive explosion of the need for better software, and APIs under kind of power all of that. So examples drawing from here would in my belief is that would definitely make APIs more accessible.
Okay, I just dropped a link to that MTNA data viz from Carson Hunter, I think. They've been doing some fantastic stuff with the Postman platform. Amazing. Bravo, Carson. All right. So we have another question from Ovik Clicks. What do you like to do when you're not working? I feel like you've kind of already addressed that, but I have another question for you. What is your favorite color and how much do you like the color orange?
Orange was this reaction against everything that was blue, and I was just so tired of blue at a particular point in time, and it was kind of intentional. It evoked, non-conformance with what I saw. Actually, the initial Postman, the first version of Postman, was kind of blue, and, and then we did this new logo, and we wanted to go from blue to orange, and we wanted it to stand out in your taskbar and stuff like that. uh, I think sometimes we might have gone overboard. I have a shiny orange jacket, I think, which we did for our previous postcon that I don't wear anymore. I think there's one of them, Joyce. Yeah,
The fluorescent orange one?
the fluorescent orange, which makes you glow in the dark effectively, or see you from 2 miles away. I think that's where I would stop at orange. Uh,
All right, we got a question. Another question from Mewtwo made me do it. Is there something on the roadmap that you're looking forward to a bunch? I'll drop a link to the roadmap, but what are you looking forward to, Abhinav?
I think the first most exciting thing right now is cloud agents. You're kind of focused on simplifying the experience more. There's a lot of stuff coming up on the roadmap with respect to collaborative capabilities. The workflow around APIs that we are kind of streamlining, and we'll announce them at Postman Galaxy, kind of in more detail. So right now, we just got done with a massive update with the new UI and public workspaces. So we're spending time there, refining the experience. There's just a lot to be kind of internalized by the community. So at Galaxy, we'll be announcing new things.
You said Cloud Agent was the first thing. What is the Cloud Agent?
So the cloud agent basically proxies your requests through Postman's cloud so that you don't have to install a desktop agent, which is currently a limitation of the web experience. You can send requests through your browser, but the cloud agent will let you access a much wider variety of APIs. So it just makes API calls even simpler.
All right, Crispy Rebel is asking to add you, Abhinav, to their references when applying for Postman. We got another comment from Kamadula from YouTube. I am a back-end developer. In our team, there's 4 people. Can you make small? Oh, this is a pricing question. Everyone, put your pricing questions and your product feature requests in the chat right now. I don't know.
We are always evolving pricing to kind of meet the demands of people. So yeah, I can't answer like specific stuff here, but feedback is always welcome.
Yeah. Ovik Clicks, how do you see Postman as a tool for API testers? Just want to know your vision. So a lot of people think of Postman as a dev tool, and a lot of developers think of it as a test tool. So like, what is your vision for API testers?
We want to be basically giving API testers just a lot of power when they're using, Postman. There is, in a way, actually, I didn't understand how critical it was going to be for the quality community. There are, lots of things there specifically that we want to do. Refining. Workflows when you're orchestrating APIs, eliminating the need to code from Postman's UI. Like Postman is today a hybrid kind of low code thing in a way where you have to use JavaScript, then you use the UI. So where we're kind of going with this is basically eliminating the need to kind of construct workflows in Postman. Reusability is a big thing. Reporting is a big thing. We're kind of looking at how we can use the data that you have already aggregated in Postman and your run results from different tests, how we can kind of correlate it and kind of get testers to focus on key problem areas rather than kind of doing the same thing over and over again. And I feel a big thing going forward would be the community that gets built on Postman to share best practices for API testing. How not only are you reusing stuff within a collection, but also how you're reusing best practices across the world of API testing. So I'm pretty excited about how this can come up. And most problems today in quality of code is one of the things that we learned was people tend to think of software testing as like a hard thing because there is always like unlimited stuff to do, but doing a few basics right, just like in security, actually goes a long way. So you want to get people to like this 90% kind of threshold very, very quickly, and then the rest is something that we want to kind of design for.
Yeah, one of our friends, Paul Farrell, we call him, has asked for reusability of tests no fewer than 4 times on these live streams.
It's coming. It's coming.
It's coming. And our other friend, Valentine Despa. Hello, Valentine. How do you balance attracting new users while making sure the existing ones are happy?
As I said, just super, super hard problem. I think Postman was a pretty small team of like 10, 20 in our early days. Now we have more than 150 developers inside the company, and as I said, we are hiring more. So we are looking at the whole extent of Postman. We are dedicating more resources to kind of enhance the product. We have we're trying to understand core problems that the existing users face. So the challenge with keeping existing users happy is not so much as building and writing code to add more features. That is the simpler part. The challenge is which one to pick so that we don't complicate the product. There, as we talked before, right? Like there are lots of feature requests that kind of come to us, and typically some of these things go into very, very deep workflows that are very contextual to each user. So what we try to do is look at a cross section of like what are the best practices that we can take the community towards, rather than designing for a very specific ask that a particular individual or a company would have. And that's the standard that we follow.
All right, we got a question here from okay. Oh. Do you recommend a 19-year-old to go deep into CS concepts or just learn practical programming and ship projects? Ooh.
My bias is towards shipping, unless you kind of want to go deeper into, depending on which level of the stack that you want to spend your time in. Like you can be very deep into CS concepts, but I think a lot of, like, depending on what your career arc you want to have, like I think that's good. But my bias, at least in my life, was always towards more practical programming and shipping stuff. Like I just couldn't stop, not building. Like I just wanted to see something in front of me.
So, okay, sounds like Abhinav's encouraging you to drop out of school and just start building.
No, stay in school.
Good advice, Abhinav.
Stay
All
in
right.
school.
Kartikeya, which book or article, if any, have impacted your life the most?
I think I've read a lot of good books in the past like 10 years. I think Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman was one of the best ones that, like, I just read as a psychology book, and it really helped me think through all of my biases that I had. So I think that was the one that kind of comes top of mind right now.
Cognitive psychology.
Yeah, I think it I think it helped me look into my own brain a little bit.
The Postman office in both the SF and Bangalore offices are have these giant libraries. And Abhinav, you've always encouraged us to just order any book that we are curious about. And so the types of books in those offices are so there's a book on drone art, there's design, there's science fiction. It's just every type of, and of course there's CS books, but I feel like you're a really book centric, and you gave us books for presents.
Yeah, I'll maybe I'll mention why I kind of why we do that. So I actually lived in small towns in India, and they're the closest bookstore, and this was before Amazon. So the closest bookstore was other than school books, was 4 hours away. So every time I'd go with my parents, we'd go to this bookstore, and I'd love kind of hanging out there, but it was always like a once in 3 months or once in 6 months kind of activity. And then what it helped me kind of do was escape. That plus computers helped me kind of escape the immediate environment, and I just kind of learned that there's so much more to learn. And unfortunately, I've seen a lot of bookstores also close. So when we kind of came to Postman, we were more just seeing what people are, what other people are curious about, and what other people know helps you kind of be a little bit more grounded with respect to kind of what you think So I always loved that environment, and I had that lack of access to books, which I didn't want anyone else to have.
All right. When was the last time you had to look at the curl man page? Do you curl today?
No.
Shame.
5 years ago, maybe. I think I didn't build the curl importer. Abhijit, I think, built it. But 5 years ago, I think 2015 is when I remember when I was trying to test something which somebody had said was not working in Postman.
A lot of people don't know about the curl importer, and that is Arlami's favorite feature. You can import a curl command into Postman and then Postmanize it so that you can deal with it easier.
And we export curl as well. So
in the code snippets that we saw earlier.
Yeah.
What are some machine learning applications used at Postman?
I think machine learning is still early at Postman. I think we are looking at how to analyze, kind of the interdependencies between APIs right now and workflows that kind of arise. I think there's a lot of work to be done for us on, looking at the behavior of APIs, especially when you're testing them and you're kind of, doing continuous integration and all of that. But I'd say we are still very early in deploying, hardcore machine learning things. Right now, we are the ones who are looking at.
It's human learning.
Yeah, it's human learning.
All right. Shak is asking, what are your top 3 hacks so far? Is this life hacks or is this Postman hacks? Have at it, Abhinav.
I'll I don't know. I'll see what comes top of mind. I think one hack I learned, which was I think from one of the from John Sheehan, who founded this company called Runsco. He recommended this tool called Moom to me. It's called Moom, and it lets you resize your windows in a Mac easily. So I'm not sure if Joyce have you seen it, but it Mac when it maximizes a window, it takes over the whole screen, and I wanted something that could let me lay out my windows a bit better. So that's an app that I would recommend.
It's a Windows manager?
Yes, on Mac.
Yeah.
And I know Mac hates like Windows managers. It's
Moom.
funny. What else? What else? I think maybe let's stick to tools, right? Kind of maybe life hacks about software tools.
Yeah.
So I use Workflowy as a brain organizing system. So that's the simplest hierarchical list system I found that still works. So anything that I'm thinking of, I just dump it in Workflowy, and I think about it kind of later. So I literally have like a thing called a brain dump, and I just literally transfer stuff from my brain into that dump, and then I organize it kind of later. So that's something that I think I found out to be working very, very useful as a useful thing. Third thing,
You're so app centric. I have like paper next to me.
I have those too. I think those were like digitizing those things. What's a third hack? I don't know. I think the third hack is I turned off all notifications from my life. I have zero notifications about email, messages, apps, everything. I just don't have any notifications. So if
And
I don't know whether it counts as a hack.
is that because you're a single threaded kind of person and you can focus better?
Maybe I think I am like I switch context a lot. I just don't want anybody to tell me to switch context. So like except like 2 or 3 people in life that I would like get a notification from. I think everything else I've seen that I can answer in a 5-10 minute window.
Yeah, it's rude. Don't interrupt. All right. I think we just have accolades here from Yash. Postman is helpful for developers and congrats for your great success. You guys are really inspiring. Clap on the back, Avinoff. And then we have a comment from Abhishek. What advice would you give to people in the IT industry who want to have their own startups as innovative and outstanding as yours?
Thank you for the kind words, Abhishek. I think I used to think about this problem a lot because I built a lot of things before Postman that failed. And I used to have like a sheet of like 20, 30 ideas that I would like work on, but I just learned the hard way that you cannot be innovative just by wanting to be innovative. I think that true test for innovation is if you're solving a key unique problem for others. And I had to really like I mean, of course we talk about how Postman came out from our own problems of working with APIs, but the intention to build Postman was to actually also help others solve those problems. So pick one problem, stick to it for a very long time, and ensure you solve it well.
Okay, we have time for one more question here. This is Ovik Clicks. Do you have any plan to add such features in Postman to document API related requirements so that the team can build and test based on that more collaboratively?
We have those already with workspaces. I would say that you can tune in or see the recordings of the previous live streams that Joyce and team have done. So you can share collections, you can share API schemas in workspaces, and that'll help you build and test collaboratively.
Yeah, Ovik Clicks, let us know if you've tried out some of those features, because that's pretty much been like the last year and a half, just kind of envisioning how do developers work with other developers instead of just in isolation. So Ovik Clicks, let us know if you've tried that out. And since we have Abhinav here, provide that product feedback. I know sometimes our engineers and our designers pop into these live streams to listen to just stuff that people have to say, requests, but also just feedback. All right, rapid fire. You ready for this, Abhinav? We got 3 minutes.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. What, I know you've answered this a couple times already, but just gun to the head. I'm not going to say that. That's offensive. Just total, what are you most excited about next? Single thing. First come to mind.
For Postman?
Yeah.
I think public workspaces.
And in life.
Nuri's next month, I think.
If you got a dog, what kind of dog would you get?
Golden Retriever.
What? I thought you wanted a Samoyed.
Yeah, we were on, I think one of our friends have a Samoyed, so we thought it would be more of like, more diversity in the mix.
Got it. What is your favorite food?
I think I like ramen the most.
Really? The margin for error is high. What is your favorite restaurant in San Francisco or Bay Area?
Good question. It reminds me that we haven't been in person to a restaurant in a long time. Which one was it? So I'm blanking on the name, which was close to
the
the place.
Bird?
Yeah, let's go for the Bird. I think we've been there often.
Fried chicken. So fried chicken is your favorite. And Crispy Rebel has the same question as me. I have two questions for you. Where is Postman in 1 year?
The company bigger, better, more, more people who are excited about solving kind of, all of these problems that, exist for APIs. Postman, the product, again, faster, smoother, more pleasurable to use, and many more kinds of people.
Okay, so I have no more questions for you. I wanted a rapid fire, but these were not as rapid as I would have liked. Last two questions for you. Do you have any mistakes that you've made along the way in terms of Postman that you regret or you wish you hadn't gone that way?
So many. I mean...
Oh. I thought you would say like you wanted to learn from it or something. Is Abhinav frozen or is he thinking really hard? Am I frozen? Oh no. Lindy, can you tell me, can people hear me? You can see me but not hear me? Okay, they can hear me and so interestingly, Abhinav has left the room. He was very regretful about his last minute decision. It's okay though, he can just join back and he'll be here soon. So many mistakes. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot I'm reading everyone's chat, but I'm not bringing them onto the screen. Loud and clear, Valentine. Yes, you can hear us. Thank you. Abhinav is pretending. I actually thought he was thinking really hard, but then he, perfect last pose. Yeah, he was just thinking so hard. How to dodge a question, just hit exit. He's frozen. What have I done? It's my fault. The timing is incredible. He's still thinking about it. I hope he knows that he's not on it anymore and he's not just talking. Oh, welcome back. Okay, does everyone else hear that? It's very, very staticky.
Hey, can you hear me, Joyce?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's a little staticky. It's very staticky.
Yeah, my internet just died. So maybe one thing I could have done is
Oh. Sonic, I have a gig up asymmetrical. There's all these funny jokes. You're missing all these funny jokes.
Yeah.
Oh, Arlemy says it's your AirPods. Is it your AirPods?
No, it's definitely my internet because I know I've just logged in. But you're still hearing the static?
Just a scotch. I can at least understand what you're saying now. Okay. Can you hear me? I only have one question left. Hello? Okay, everyone. Well, I'm crystal clear. I'm coming in loud and clear. If, hello?
Yeah,
Abhinav.
I can hear
Just
you.
ask the question, Joyce.
I think I'm just going to turn off the airport at this time.
Hi, different Abhinav. Hello, welcome. We're just about to wrap up the AMA. My question to you, Abhinav, is do you have any final shout outs? We typically close out the live stream with shout outs.
I can hear you. But it seems like there's a network delay. So
I'm going to type my answer or my question.
maybe we'll do it in the next.
Abhinav, answer in the chat. I know, Abhinav Kusharaj, if you have questions, we didn't get to them all, but it's the same as my scrub meeting. Yes, Arlemy, come join us and answer on behalf. So if Abhinav sees it, he's going to answer.
And we had.
So this is actually Abhinav. Negative shout out from my internet provider, which just crashed. Okay. All right. I don't know how to end it if the internet will not recover. Abhinav, if you're still there, go ahead and answer in the chat. Otherwise, I will thank you. And you can't hear me. You can't hear me. So I'm just talking to no one. But thank you so much, everyone who joined on the chat, for asking your questions. This is the first time we've had this kind of AMA. If you like it, just let us know. Yes, we are experiencing technical difficulties. Thanks, Arlemy. No one else can figure that out. 404, Abhinav is not found. So let us know if you like this type of format. Otherwise, we will continue again next week. Typically, we hack on something and we build something together. Sometimes we bring in guests like Abhinav. This time it was a little bit different Q&A format. So thank you very much, and we will see you next week. Goodbye. Goodbye. Bye, Abhinav.